9:02. We may start. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for choosing this room this morning. This session is Regeneration, crafting sustainable and inclusive neighborhoods. I may just give a detail that I just knew about from my colleague Zia. This is the biggest workshop of this edition of Sustainable Places. We have 11 projects joining, so thanks a lot for joining. And so here you can see on the right the name of the projects. And going to the agenda, I may present myself. My name is Mahaddessa Maktabifard. I work at the Artem Solution, the French branch. I'm an architect, and I'm mainly involved in the smart cities related projects. And I give the floor to my colleague Loïc.
Thank you very much to everybody here, all speakers, all attendees, also all attendees online. Thank you very much. So Loïc Orofino from Artem Solution as well. My background is not architect. I'm specialized in international cooperation, but I worked a lot with different scientific specialties, so it's a pleasure to be here today. The region is the biggest, you said, Mohi? So
yes, I heard so.
Okay, that's also a big point to emphasize. We wish you a very fruitful collaboration this morning. We will moderate the debate, so you know that each speaker will have about 10 minutes. So if some minutes before the end we do some sign to you, don't be angry. We have to do so to respect the time. We will go further this morning, and then we will have a break at 10:30, basically. We will start with the coordinator of REGEN project, everybody knows, Sylvain Kubicki, and I will leave the floor to him right now. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you and good morning. So I hope you are all doing well after our nice evening yesterday. I'm sorry for my voice. It's a bit broken, you know why. So yes, I'm going to present you the REGEN project, which started quite recently in January. So I think you are aware maybe of this topic on the regeneration of neighborhoods towards a low carbon, inclusive and affordable built environment. Which is also the title of our research project, Innovation Action. So a few statistics on the projects to start with. We have a quite big consortium with 23 partners involved, 4 demonstration sites, 6 countries involved in total. The project will have a duration of 4 years. Maybe I can add less statistics, but more on the configuration and how we are working on this project that besides the usual transversal technical competencies you all know we need in these kind of projects, we built the consortium around 4 ecosystems in our sites. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. Basically, for those online participants, sorry for the sound. These are the statistics of the project, so you have seen it. So what are our drivers towards a neighborhood regeneration? First, of course, the climate emergency. So that's our first reading to the topic. But this climate emergency has to go hand in hand with the aim of the economic revitalization as well as social inclusion. So this is a huge challenge or a huge mindset when trying to put all this all together. And of course, any intervention in that context has to be assessed, and we wanted it to be people-centric, so in a people-centric way. There is also this importance of the EU leadership associated with digital technologies, sovereignty at the EU level, which we also placed at the heart of the project. And this digital aspect is quite important. We relied a lot, and we still rely a lot, on the donut economics to frame this ambition in REGEN, and also in our aim for the assessment of our work, and I would say interventions in general. I've tried to summarize the objectives. So I went through it. So this is mainly a summary. We wanted to be able to assess those interventions, urban regeneration actions. So our first aim is to have a framework that allows for a holistic assessment. Of course, as long as citizens are concerned, they have to be involved in some forms of participation in the planning processes. And we pushed for this concept of neighborhood regeneration offices. There is also a soft part in the regeneration, which is less technological or infrastructure related, and which is focused on the behavioral changes of citizens and businesses in our case, for which we also have developed some methods, or we are developing methods to assess the lasting of those changes or potential changes. And from a more, let's say, perhaps technical or engineering point of view, the interventions concern both urban and rural contexts. I will come back to it. Our idea is to form like a catalog of those interventions, to develop also a toolbox of digital tools focused on citizens and their use, their contact at some point with the tools. We have a specific objective associated with mobility planning also, a bit transversal. So this is in a single and summarized slide, the assessment framework or the principle we have set up. So it was explained in more detail in the workshop we had yesterday morning on life cycle assessment, sustainability assessment. The purpose definitely is to evaluate the interventions that we are going together with the four municipalities and ecosystems to develop, to implement, and to be able to assess those in a holistic approach, as I was mentioning. For that, the idea is to cover the three pillars of sustainability, the environmental, social, and economics aspects in a life cycle assessment approach, trying to get an understanding of the benefits which sometimes could also be associated with negative impacts in a balanced or global holistic approach. We are in the, I would say, middle of this activity, developing this assessment framework, defining the methodologies. It's quite tricky, of course, because also we want to cover the building to neighborhood and sometimes even to nationwide. For Luxembourg, it's quite straightforward. If you look at neighborhood in Luxembourg, it's so connected to all other cities all around the country that we have also to consider this. It's also sometimes easier to connect the bottom-up assessment to the top-down, I would say, implementation of policies in our case, maybe. And using digital tools to collect the data and streamline the assessment as much as we will be able to do it. This is a snapshot of the latest status of our interventions. They are dealing with several domains. Energy is, of course, a quite significant focus. Mobility and transport, I was mentioning it. Water, which is here associated with circularity in the construction sector from a resource management point of view. There are some other considerations, of course, associated with land use, land planning, and the built environment in a more focused approach to buildings. Yeah, this is the structure of our catalog, for which we are at the moment looking at developing a common understanding for our demo sites. So we call it the baseline, and the indicators which will help us follow the progress and the impacts of our interventions. 4 demo sites. So starting with the Spanish one, Laredo city. So in the north of Spain, close to the sea. In this demo site, we are dealing with urban regeneration, especially focusing on the city center of the municipality. So cultural heritage is involved, and there is a specific focus on this one, on this demo site, on accessibility, including pedestrian mobility, therefore, as we are dealing with the city center. And you will see that from one demo site to another, we have sometimes quite different considerations. In Dublin, we are dealing with situations of energy poverty, but also including initiatives associated with communities, or especially the energy cooperative and the use of renewable energy. We'll have the chance to visit the pilot next month for our second project meeting. We also have the colleagues from Milan involved, the municipality. In Milan, the focus is on these 4 white buildings that you see on the screen. This is our initial focus because these buildings, social housing are quite old and are being demolished. It even started already this year. In this context, we are studying the potential for circularity, for reuse of construction components that are embedded in the existing infrastructures. So we deploy the digital deconstruction process that maybe some of you have seen yesterday morning also in the circularity session. The aim is to lead the way to show what's the situation currently in terms of reusing construction components and how this could be improved in the future, also involving the value chains. But we deal also with other aspects. Nature-based solution is one of them, and you will hear about it with my colleagues, later this morning. Green Pass certification is also going to be applied in this demo site. And finally, Beckerish, a very different setting. We are back to the countryside, I would say, of Luxembourg, close to the Belgian border. But this municipality, however, is very dynamic, very innovative. They have built this heat distribution network for the village. So it's quite unique, I think, connecting the houses to the central generation plant based on biomass. I was looking for my words. So renewable energy. We also will try to deal with urban mining, so the circularity, reuse policies leveraged at the level of the municipality entirely. So this is, in a nutshell, what we will do. And to address all of these topics, it's quite ambitious. We can already rely on existing or under development tools. So this is our toolbox. Our aim is not to create another digital platform, but our aim is to integrate the data that those tools can provide one to the other in order to deal with the interventions associated with decarbonization, management of buildings, real estate, circularity and reuse, nature-based solution project assessment, and also accessibility, which lead us to this concept of digital twin, because we will deploy those mobility sensors to monitor the people flows. This will be linked to the assessment that we will streamline as much as possible in digital data flows, and the participatory design, which you may have seen in the corridor coming here. We have this MUST table. MUST stands for Managing Urban Spaces Together, and this will be our media, our interface to connect with the citizens. Yes, I had a focus on Beckerish as we are in Luxembourg. Maybe I will really quickly go through it, because I already told you that we are dealing with mainly so far with the energy side of the distribution, municipality distribution of heat, and urban mining. I think that's it, and this is our local ecosystem that is dealing with that. We tried as much as this makes me think. We tried as much as possible to involve in the local ecosystem some companies or partners in general that can handle the methods for the engagement of citizens. So LISER is the Luxembourg Institute of Socio-Economical Research. They are developing the methods for the so-called living labs that are transversal. And in this case, the Impact Lab, which is a company based in Luxembourg, they are in charge of deploying it together with the municipality. And we have the same in Laredo, we have the same in Milan also. Thank you. I'm going anyway to the end with a few words on the methodology. At this point in time, we are focused on the engagement, creating the communities, but there is also a lot of work ongoing on the development of the interventions, the ecological and technical components themselves. engaging the communities, especially in the 4 demo sites, and developing the methodology for the impact assessment, this holistic framework I was mentioning before. And this is it. Thank you for your attention.
Going back, thank you very much, Sylvain. Before going to the Regenerate presentation, and meanwhile, as my colleague is plugging in some of the latest presentation in the slide deck, we may go back to the agenda, because in the beginning we weren't sure if the online participants are hearing us, but now we are sure, so it's great. And tell you about the order and also what is the rationale behind it. So yeah, we have just heard from our coordinator of REGEN project, Sylvain. This bit, the first section of it, is very much focused on urban regeneration and sustainable neighborhoods. So we are looking at the big picture. It's a bit zoomed out. And then we have our dear sister project, Regenerate. We were funded under the same call. Then we have another dear sister project, Drop. So first Vicky, and then Sylvia, Vicky from ISE and Sylvia from Technalia will present Regenerate and Drop. In the second section, we focus on the second group of project, which is very much focused. So from neighborhood scheme, we go to the building scheme, building renovation and energy efficiency. We start with Kalesh. We have Etienne, I think, in the room. Yes, hello. From CEA. Then Rehouse. We have Matteo and Praskevi from DUTH and RENA Consulting. Then we dig deep in Inherit, again on the same topic of building renovation. We have Antonia from Singular Logic. Hello. And then Evalexia. So we have Alessandra from RENA Consulting. Hi. Later, so we again continue with zooming in. We zoom in at the smart technologies and energy systems. We listen to a smart story from, again, Matteo from RENA. Then we have the coffee break, and this is where myself, I will be leaving you, as I have another session on positive energy district. And also, I think Sylvain will leave us as well. So if you have any questions focused on REGEN, please feel free to ask it before the coffee break. And also we have the end benefit on the topic of smart technologies, where Jacek from LIST will present. Hi. And then the last group comes in, group 4, stakeholder empowerment for sustainable cities. So we take again a step back and look at the stakeholder landscape. We have Andrea from Artem Solution Italy, who will be presenting to us the Green Path, which is also one of the exploitable results in REGEN project, Sylvain just pointed out. Then we have Snug, Jürgen from University of Stuttgart.
Just one comment. I think our project is not in the stakeholders, it's more in the building level.
Okay, so yeah, we must have moved you there. Okay, apologies for this. So we assume that it is in the building group, group number 2. And then at the end we will have a Q&A, and we hope that it will be a dynamic, nice one where we can really brainstorm together, ask questions, and also really get to know and understand, okay, what each of us is doing in their projects and how parallel they are, and maybe initiate some joint activities together. And then we have the conclusion. So I don't know, the presentation, I think it's all in, no, Loic?
Yeah, but we have to make a change.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one. Can I?
Yes, sure. And each of you have 10 minutes, so please stick to this time as the X large workshop of this Sustainable Places edition. We hope that we really stick on time, and each of us gets like the fair segment of time. So now I invite you, Vicky.
Vicky, just a last word to thank Sylvain again for the presentation, and also to say hello and give greetings to our CEO at REGEN, so Tom Misevi, that I saw you right, so thank you very much to be there as well. Vicky, please, the floor is yours.
So I can also stand
on this one.
here, saying that.
So yes, I'm going to present Regenerate. Regenerate is our sister project, and
Yeah, thank you. 21 partners, 4 demos, and we have also a 4 years project. We started last year in November, and then yes, and we have a budget of 7.5 million from the EU contribution. Right. So what the project is about, obviously, is about urban regeneration. Can you hear me well like this? Yeah. So it's about urban regeneration, but we did a small work plate when we decided the project. We decided to replace the R with the word W. And what we got is regeneration. So, yes. And so the project tries to really embrace the paradigm shift from the building for people to building with people. So we the cities, the business, the practitioners, the researchers, as well as the local community is very important part. And we all try to work together. We take the ownership of the urban regeneration process and we co-create together. The people-centric, sustainable and inclusive, beautiful neighborhoods. That is what we try to do in this project. Right, and our projects it's about the story of 4 cities. I think many of you probably also have experienced that in Europe, many cities have the reason for regenerate, but the reasons could be different because they face very different challenges, right? And so we pick 4 demo cases in our projects, and we, based on these 4 demo cases, we try to really capture the different kind of challenges, problems that is facing different cities in Europe. So I will just tell you the story of the cities. So the first cities we have is Cesena in Italy, and the story is about regeneration of the train station. Maybe many of you have experienced, normally the area around the train station is not the most attractive of the cities. This is very much dominated by transport. Many people actually passing by the places, but they don't want to stay there because it's not so attractive. So what the cities want to do in Cesena is that they want to regenerate the station area, which is a very common story in many European cities, right? One reason that you're doing that is that they want to create a city gateway that can connect to the new university campus very close by. And so there's a lot of investment from the government to this regeneration of this neighborhood. And so they have design competition, they have great plans of what they want to do in the next few years. And just across the railway station, there is a deprived neighborhood. So at the moment, this neighborhood is kind of disconnected to this whole regeneration concept. And what we want to do in this regenerate project is to try to get this neighborhood involved in this regeneration process. So they are part of this, and they also get the benefits and all the good things that is out of this regeneration of the train station area. So that is the story of Cesena. And then the next demo we have is Cascais. Maybe many of you already know Cascais. Cascais is small, but it is a relatively diverse city. So along the coastline of Cascais, they have quite wealthy populations. But then if you go further inland, there are actually quite a lot of social housing neighborhoods. The social housing neighborhoods there in Cascais and in general in Portugal, they are facing the energy poverty problems. And so in this project, we actually try to create an energy community with the social housing residents and try to improve the situation of energy poverty. And the challenge is that we need to actually get the people, the social housing residents involved in the project. And so there will be a lot of stakeholder engagement, educational campaign, programs, and to try to make sure that they are part of this whole regeneration process. And then the next case we have is Bucharest. It's especially in District 2 of Bucharest. I think you also know Bucharest is a big city. It's a melting pot of different populations. And the focus area we have is especially have very diverse social mix. The kind of challenge they have there is that there are different like populations and communities, but they don't kind of interact so much with each other. And an observation is that actually the urban environment there does not really invite this kind of interaction activities. There's no space for this. But in this same neighborhood, there is the university campus. The university campus actually have quite a lot of pockets of green spaces, open space within the campus. However, it is fenced off from the public. Public cannot actually use those green space. And now the university actually have planned to regenerate some of their buildings, and at the same time also regenerate the open space of the campus. And their idea is that they want to open up those open spaces to allow the local communities to use them. And so in this project, we are trying to do is to get actually the different groups of people in this neighborhood to be involved in this regeneration process. So that include the university administration, the students, the teachers in the university, the local school, as well as the local residents. So that will be a very interesting project to see how they want to see the future of these open pockets of open space, how we can use open space for like community activities in order to encourage these kind of interactions. Right, and then the fourth cases we have is very different, is Tampere. Tampere is a very smart city. They have amazing IoT infrastructures already in the city. But they face a problem. That is the decline of the city center. And this is also, again, not like a unique problem. Many European cities actually facing similar problems. And what their observation is that people don't find the city center attractive. They find it's pretty much dominated by transportation. And then the business, the people actually don't feel like to go to the city center, and then at the same time the business move out. Like this is happening gradually. And so what the cities want to do is to completely renovate the city center. And they want to create a human-centric walkable concept for the city center. But they use a quite different approach. What they try to do is to develop a digital twin. Actually, we develop digital twins in all our demos. But what Tampere is doing is that they go a step forward. They work actually based on the digital twin to create a metaverse of the city, and then use the extended reality technology to try to engage people in the design of this walkable city concept. So the four cities have quite different challenges. They are trying to tackle different problems, but they are all going to apply our regenerate approach. So what is the regenerate approach we have? First, not surprising, and I think this is also the homework that every cities they need to do when they do the urban regeneration, is to try to understand what is the current situation. So all the cities will have to do their homework. They have to understand they unpack the problems, the challenges to do with the people, the place, the policy, and also the plans of the city. And then they are going to engage the different local stakeholders group and co-create this vision of what they want to see in the future after the project ends. And these are the ambitions that people have, different stakeholders group have, what is the long-term vision, what are the short-term goals that they have. And then in the middle, you can see these very colorful spaghettis are the different transformation actions that are going to go from A to B. Yeah. And so you see this is a complicated process, of course, and you need really dedicated people to lead this process. So in our project, we have structured this as each demo is actually have a local circle. The local circle is led by the city, and they have a strong partnership with the local research institute and the local industry partner. And they all work very closely together to understand the problem from different perspectives, to co-create this vision together with the stakeholder, and then design and plan these colorful spaghettis in between. Right, but the local circle, they are not alone. So they are going to be supported by other regenerators. In our project, we have an innovation hub. The innovation hub are actually experts from different fields, and what they try to do is to support demo in the different aspects, including the design of the actions and to implement of the actions and so on. And the innovation hub are focused on 4 different aspects. We have one aspect on building, one aspect on digitalization, an aspect on social innovation, and aspect on the sustainable mobility. And in addition to the demos, we also have a fellow cities network who are following the process, working together with us, learn our experience, and try to transfer all these experience to their cities. So the 5 cities we have is Cartagena in Spain, Kadıköy in Turkey, and then Lepaya in Latvia, and then Szombathely in Hungary, and also Zebra in Croatia. So what we have done so far. So at the moment, one of our major deliverables is we call the social innovation cookbook. It's already done, it's online, and it is essentially mainly done by our social innovation cluster leader, Eclay. And it is a collection of recipes that can help cities to start doing the social innovation. So that we have the starter, trying to understand appetizer to help you to understand the place and the people. And we have the main course, is trying to help you how you can co-create this transformation with the local stakeholders. And then we have the dessert, is how we can actually work together to make this change long-lasting. Right, okay, rushing through the last bit is about what we have done. We have also an impact model very similar to REGEN. We try to understand what actually impacts urban regeneration have different aspects. And we already have the site visit to 2 of our demo. One is more on the social innovation in Bucharest, and then we have the digital twin workshop, as well as we were in the Metaverse event in Tampere this year. And what we are going to do is that we will have the fellow cities onboarding this year. We will have 2 other site visits to understand the demo. And then the demo is going to develop the action plan and implementation roadmap. And then, so next year, that will be the main implementation. Actually, the next 2 years will be the main implementation. And then in the end, we are going to see the stories of the 4 demos, how they actually go through this journey of urban regeneration. And in very end, what we want to have the project is the urban regeneration guidance package. So that would capture all the experience of the demos, the fellow cities, all the solutions that we created, and as a guidance for all other cities who want to follow suit. Yeah, so I think that is the end of my presentation. And if you're interested in the project, you can go to our website. I have some flyers here. Welcome to talk to me if you're interested. Yeah, thank you very much.
Just one point for the speakers. If you take this one, think to take it to very close to your mouth.
Well, hi, good morning, everyone. I am Silvia Urra from Tecnalia, and I am presenting the project. This project started in October 2 years ago, so we have just 1 year left. We have advanced quite a lot. The full title, I have to read it because it's very long, is Digitally Enabled Social District Renovation Processes for Age-Friendly Environments, Driving Social Innovation and Local Economic Development. So I have already said all the project. But as you can see in the logo, we have put in the residents at the heart of social district regeneration. Because as Vicky has said, this journey is something we have to do with the citizens, because if we don't include them in the process, then the results are not going to be sustainable. And they will not, let's say, belong it. Okay, I'm missing here something, the letters. Well, it's okay. So, well, you cannot see that because there were some text there, but what we aim to do is to create an integrated renovation methodology to really improve the neighborhood. We are focusing on, we have just 1 pilot case, that is the city of Ermua, a neighborhood called Santana. The project or the call was focused on social housing, and in Spain, and I think that it happens the same in many Mediterranean countries, we don't have really like social housing like in the north of Europe, where there are these big buildings that have one public owner and the flats are rented. We call social housing also to those buildings that were built in the 50s when people from the countryside came to the cities that were more industrialized looking for works. So the housing was constructed in a very quick way, and now they face issues like energy poverty, but also accessibility, because many of them do not even have elevators. On the other side, we have that the people that is living there mainly is quite old. So not to have elevators in buildings where all people is living is an issue itself. What we want to do is to improve the quality of life of people, and for that we want to improve the urban space, we want to improve the buildings, and we have two main drivers. The first one is social innovation. We want to really make people be part of the process, and this has to be an effort from both sides, from our side, let's say, the ones that are pushing for the renovation, but also from the citizen sides. I don't know, in other countries, in Spain, it's not very usual that people participate a lot in participatory processes. I don't know if it is because we call them so many times to ask for things and they never get back the feedback of or the results of that processes, that they are quite fed up with the processes. So it's quite difficult to really take them to participate. On the other side, we want to push for local economic development. I mean, regeneration processes have to be something more than make the neighborhoods like more beautiful or more livable. It's good also that they push for new businesses or new opportunities for the neighbors of the neighborhoods. And we want to do that using two things. The first one is integrated innovative technologies. We know that technology is a tool, very powerful. And also we want to explore the potential of cultural and creative industries. That is why we have one pilot site, but we have two peer cities. One is Matera. If Italian people is here, you know that Matera is an example of how you can make the most from something that was supposed to be the shame of Italy in the 60s, because they have really changed everything. They were European cultural capital some years ago. And the other one is Elva in Estonia. You know, Estonia is the more digitalized country in Europe, I think. So what we are trying to do is to learn from their processes, how they have been like evolving, and they learn from the process we are doing in Ermoa. So we are defining an integrated renovation methodology that has 3 levels: the strategic level, the design level, and the intervention level. Our project is quite, let's say, I don't know how to say that in English, like quite very much focused on implementation and very practical. We are involving people in all the process, and we are involving them because we want to put social innovation in all the levels and also local economic development. So as we have already 2 years of the project, I have taken here like examples of the workshops we have held, what we have done in them, so you can see where we are now. So the first step was we started with citizens in Santana 2023, and we asked them how they would like to be Santana in 2035. So we ask not just the citizens, also all the stakeholders that are involved in the process. That is also industry, like businesses, public entities and private entities, and different associations. We involve everyone in the process. So we had these different workshops that were focused on identifying and putting them in the place so they could really understand what we were asking them. So in the first one, we asked them like how the neighborhood was when they went to live there, and also how they think it could be if it was like digitalized, if it was green, if it was nice, it was accessible and inclusive. Then in the second one, what we did was to work on the scenarios development, because you know, this exercise is quite interesting. It puts you in a place you probably sometimes you don't want to be. So we put like 4 different scenarios, and they were right by society's commitment and the local economic development. When we had the scenarios developed, we asked them, now that they have seen all the possibilities, what would happen if people was not involved, what could happen if local economic development was not pushed, the kind of scenario they would like for them, the vision they would like. So they decided what they would like. They wanted to have a neighborhood that was accessible, that had physical and spatial outdoor and indoor living spaces, and digitalization could be a tool but not a goal. And then they had like different ideas about the environment, the economy, the social and cultural, and the digital fields. So working on that, and once they have decided how they wanted the neighborhood be, we work with them to identify what actions should be take place in order to achieve that vision they have. And from that actions, we made a selection. We talked with the municipality also to align them with the strategies of municipal strategies, because when we go to these projects, we cannot forget that the neighbors are inside the city that has their own strategies. And then we selected like some projects, and we take them to the prioritization, because European projects have limited budget and time, so all the projects could not be implemented. So we make some voting. We had 4 projects on the social side, 4 environmental side, and 2 in economic and digital. And then we had some projects that were already going to be done because they were committed in the proposal, like we created a mapathon with the neighbors, we have a neighborhood office, we are pushing for the creation of energy community, and we had some sessions to inform citizens about different uses, because, for example, energy communities is not a concept that is very useful for citizens. So these were the different projects that were selected. Some of them have been launched already, some of them are ongoing. And what we are doing is to co-create with them all the process. So from the identification, what they want to achieve, now we have like different small local task force for each of the projects where neighbors are involved, and they have to decide, and then we take all those proposals vote into all the neighborhood. So we wanted to develop the integrated renovation methodology to show our real implementation, to assess the level of impact, to design a co-governance model, to create an enabling context for innovation, and also we want to replicate it, and of course to disseminate. How we are now? Well, we have mostly developed the integrated renovation methodology. We already have the co-governance model developed. We have the local economic development model developed, and we are working on the replication strategy and roadmap. And in 2024, the idea is to implement the integrated renovation methodology in Santana. In 2025, we would like to have all the projects executed and the process evaluated. And in the future, we want that this integrated renovation methodology is a continuous improvement process. So it can restart every time you want, pushed by the neighbors, and also that we would like that this integrated renovation methodology could be replicated in other social housing neighborhoods across Europe that share similar characteristics. So that's all. And we are 10 partners.
Thank you very much, Sylvia from Tecnalia. We were now, normally should be Kalash, but you, Etienne? Yes. Okay, nice to meet you. I don't have received any presentation. You have some? So that if you need it, well. Sorry?
Can I use my computer?
We have to check with the technician, but I don't think so. If you have a USB. Okay. So the next one will be Riao's project. Vula, I think, or Charlotte, or Matteo. Vula and Matteo. Vula, so from the University of Thrace in Greece, and Matteo for RINA Consulting. Okay. The floor is yours.
So, hello, I'm Vula and my colleague Matteo. I'm from Democritus University of Thrace. I'm here today to present to you the Rehouse project and the pilot site in our university in Chimeria, Xanthi. So about the project, the objective of the project is to reduce on-site construction time because a lot of the renovation packages are pre-made and delivered on site to be installed, increase affordability of renovation, improve living comfort, promote use of renewable and recycled materials, reduce the...
We cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry. So,
It's okay.
it's okay. Do I have to start over with the objectives?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead, but this way it's just easier for the online participants.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, all in all, we aim to stimulate the renovation wave, as we discussed yesterday in another session where our coordinator presented rehousing in a very detailed way. For the project, we have 8 renovation packages are going to be installed. 4 of them are building envelope innovations, 2 additional envelope solutions in a smaller scale, and 2 energy system modernizations. As I mentioned, there are 4 demo sites. 2 of them are student residence buildings, one in Kimeria Xanthi, one in Budapest, 1 social housing building. Is that the Margarita de Savoy or the... Okay. And a large residential block in France, Saint-Dié-de-Vaux. Pardon my French. In all, we are 25 partners from 8 countries and 4 of them demo sites. The target groups that we aim are policymakers, local municipalities, designers and developers, utilities, contractors and suppliers, and research institutions. So for the Greek demo site in Kimeria Xanthi, it's located in the northwestern part of Greece. It's a building for student housing. It consists of 54 rooms, each separate for each student with a living area and a bathroom. It spans in 3 floors and covers a total area of 1,200 square meters. We are applying renovation packages 1, 2, and 3. 1 is a multi-source heat pump. The second one is the adaptive dynamic building envelope, and the third one is the smart wall. The challenges that we have so far found during the implementation of the project is that the building has the project has to be implemented in the building, and make it efficient, but still respect the fact that there is a special community living there with special needs. They are students and they need their privacy, they need their time to study. Interventions can be done whenever we want them, like following the Gantt chart by heart. We have to respect that they have exam periods, they have time when they need to study, when they need to rest, and so on. So about the social aspects, the fact that all the energy expenses are covered by the university and the state eventually. We face harsh winters and hot summers, so the heating and the cooling system have to be mostly efficient. If we can demonstrate the benefits of this kind of renovation, it will affect the greater community around the university, maybe the municipality and the people who live in the general area of Xanthi. And of course, there is the benefit that if all goes well, and hopefully it will, there are 3 more campuses of our university in 3 different cities that can benefit from replicating the project. The current status of the Greek demo site, the social innovation aspect is always running. We are always involved in activities that aim to motivate and keep the community engaged. The validation of the renovation package is up to technology readiness level 6 is almost at its peak, 98%, but we are still a little bit back in the demonstration to readiness level 7. We are at 10%. We are still implementing and installing installation phases. Sorry, and as of the replication, the estimation is in 15%. So, challenges and lessons learned, as I mentioned before, the installation of the renovation packages has to be done in periods convenient for the students to follow the students' needs and their lives. That being said, there are specific time openings where we can do the installation of the renovation packages, and not one, not two, 3 of them. So it's a tight time frame to do so. Also, there is a lot of bureaucracy and time-consuming processes for public tendering. So this is also a big challenge for us, so that we can go on with the tendering and be on time by the Gantt chart of the project. Also, a challenge is to the community of the students is always vivid and always changing. New students come, others leave, so we have to find ways to keep them engaged all the time, and hopefully after the end of the project as well. The lessons learned here is that engaging the tenants and the neighboring community as soon as possible, even from the beginning of the project. Communication is a big, plays a key role in all of this implementation, so that when you have a good communication for designing and scheduling, it's very important. Respecting the needs and including the stakeholders in every possible way in implementation and in making decisions and in future planning, and of course always always have in mind that unforeseen things will happen, challenging things. So that's it for the Greek demo. The floor to you, Mateo.
Thank you. 2 minutes left for Vola or for the...
For rehouse project.
For rehouse, okay. So I have to, no worries. So I have to go quick, telling something about the Italian demonstration for rehouse project. It's placed in Margherita di Savoia in Puglia region, so in the south east of Italy. It's a social housing built in the 80s. The problem related to this social housing is has poor insulation and old heating systems, and they have no cooling inside. Then, of course, a structural assessment was needed because the structure, the building is quite old and not well preserved. And of course, the starting point is related to the comfort level of the people. And one of the main issue for them is that they live in energy poverty, basically, and poverty in general. So the problem for them is that sometimes they even not use the heating during winter because they cannot afford to pay the bills. And the renovation packages that are to be included here. There are a renovation package 4, centralized holistic and heating and cooling renovation kit, and a multi-purpose facade. And here we would like to focus on the co-creation process that has been established there to engage citizens. As I said before, social aspects are related to the low income of the tenants, the social decline, the fact that there are many elderly people, and of course unemployment is a big problem in that specific part of Italy, of the city. And the social innovation, as for the Greek demo and for the other demos, is always running, in the sense that in all the phases of the project we are trying to engage citizens and people living the buildings. And again, the validation at TRL 7 is quite finished and concluded, and the demonstration is going to start because we are in the phase of construction and installation of the renovation packages, and the replication is at the beginning because we are in the phase of constructions. So the challenges and lesson learned challenges is the involvement of the tenants, basically. So together with ENEA, the Italian National Energy Agency, that is part of the Italian cluster, they promoted this continuous contact with the tenants, with the citizens. And they established a lot of workshop and co-creation points where to decide together with the tenants the intervention, and in order to include them in this process of renovation. So even because they are low income with some problems, tenants in a poverty context, they are always kept away from the decision-making procedures. So it is important in this project, not only the technological part, but also to take them into consideration because, of course, of their basically their problems and the fact that it's important in any case to involve citizens in this type of processes. That's it, because I think that we are running out of time.
So thank you very much to Vula and Matteo. Now we will give the floor to Etienne Woods from CEA, France.
Or we go to Kalash, no? Or
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah.
You want to? If we managed. Okay.
So thank you. So I'm Etienne Wurt from CEA. You're also involved in the EOS project. And so we, oh, yes, I need the microphone. Okay.
Just if it's, have a look. No,
Okay, so a very different project, which look like the next one, which is Inherit, project based on cultural heritage renovation. And so I will show you what we plan to do. It's a project we began 1 year ago, so we are at the beginning. The real idea of the project is to mix technical aspect and social aspect. And so the goal, I would say, is if you have a renovation, the question is what want you do with the renovation before to think about technical aspect, because the technical aspect will depend on the real use of the future building. And so for that, I try to go fast because I have too many slides. And for that, so we try to have 4 issues. The first one is what we call a repository. That means we have already some document or website done by EURAC, which is called LibreAtlas, where we have a lot of different solutions for historical building. And in Kalash, we will add, I think, 150 more technical solutions for this kind of renovation. The other issue is to develop what we call a decision support tool, and that's very important in our project. The decision support tool will be also based on technologies, based on simulation, on energy simulation, but also on survey and on advice of the population. And again, the idea is to try to have some tool which is mixed with social and technical. And we are used to develop tools based on technical aspect. It's more difficult to have tools based on social aspect. And if you want to mix both, it's more difficult. So we have also the idea to develop new technical solution, because we have to progress on wall insulation, to progress on windows, to progress on PV integration, to progress on heat pump. That's what we will see later. And then we will try also to validate the different solution. So at first, the decision support system. So that's what we would have operating at the end of the project. Project is TRL 5, so for sure we will not have a commercial tool at the end, but we would have a tool which is possible to give you some information. If you have a old building, what will be the best solution at first for this building? For example, if you have a very old building, we like to have, and we will see it in Grenoble, we have a museum. It's nice to have a museum in an old building, but it's very, very difficult because you have a lot of humidity constraint, you have of temperature constraint. So perhaps it's better to have anything else in the as issue. And so, but what you plan to have, you need to adapt the technology with that. That was for the DSS tool. And then which kind of development we plan to put in the project. So some classical renovation approach, but taking into account the cultural heritage, and for sure, like other one, reducing environmental aspect, impact, and so balance between cultural preservation and sustainability. The last one is to ensure that the renovate with communities. That means survey with owners, survey with inhabitants, survey with architects and all the people who are involved in such project. So to explain that, we can look at the 4 demonstrations we propose. The first one is in Sweden, 12th century old building. So you see the roof. The roof, it's a common roof, and the idea would be, is it possible to have a PV roof on this building? So for sure, it's very difficult with the architect, but if we want to have this kind of PV, we need to change nothing. That means the roof will be exactly the same aspect as what you see today, and that means we keep the tiles and we put PV on the existing tiles. That was one of our challenge. Another one is larger scale, like we see before. We are at neighborhood scale with La Chaux-de-Fonds, a city in Switzerland, which is protected by UNESCO. So we cannot change anything. We need to keep the same aspect. And again, is it possible to have PV on these kinds of building? Is it possible to insulate and not changing? You see, it's nice to see. And so that's also the real question with this kind of building. The next one is an Italian building near from Pompeii. And again, if we want to renovate this building, at first the question is, what do you want to do with this building? For the moment, we don't have a definitive issue. And so if you don't know what you will do with the building, you cannot discuss about technical renovation. For sure, you can. You know that for such a building, the PV should not be visible, and that's easy to do. But before to propose a technical renovation, we have to discuss with all the people around the this building with the architect, with the municipality, what we could do and what would be very interesting, and with preservation of the architecture, because we would like to keep this kind of building like there. The same in Grenoble. So you see, it's an old museum which is empty since 30 years in the center of Grenoble. And Grenoble, so city in France, has a lot of buildings like this. And the real question is, it's very, very expensive to renovate, it's expensive to do something with them, and so for this reason, nobody do nothing, but the cost of the building is very, very expensive, and thank you, I will finish soon, is very, very expensive, so the solution is not to propose, say, a simple solution, because you will not have the money for the renovation, and so it's also you have to find. So one of the idea was, for example, to put in 1 or 2 rooms a data center. Then the data center give you money for the renovation, give you also the possibility to heat all the building, and then you can propose something else with art or with something which costs a lot of money. There's all the question about Calais, and I will finish with that. I think it's a question about how can we mix social aspect with technical aspect, and if we don't mix both aspects, either we will put some damage on the building, either we will, like in Grenoble, wait 30 years without any renovation. And to finish, here you see the Ines where I'm working. The decision was we will not do some renovation on this 4 building because we are at TRL 5. It's complex, but we will develop technology with insulation, with PV, with windows, and put them on the research center to show that we can do that. We will, with simulation tool, look about which impact we will get, environmental and energy, and we will put them on this scale. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Etienne. Okay. So now will be Enerit, Antonia, I think, singular logic.
Hi, good morning. My name is Antonia Frondia. I'm from Singular Logic, the coordinator of Inherit project. A few words about Inherit. So the project's been running for a year now. It started in October 2023, and the consortium consists of 18 partners across Europe. So what's our goal? The goal is to offer methodology that will make historic buildings more sustainable, accessible, and energy efficient, while maintaining their cultural heritage value. Our methodology is divided in 3 layers: the social, the scientific, and the technological. And in this last layer, the technological toolkit will be developed that consists of an assessment tool and 11 services. And this methodology will be applied in 8 real-world cultural heritage sites. As you can see in the pictures, we have buildings, and one site, which is the city of Visby, is protected by UNESCO. And so who do we target? Who are our stakeholders? I have divided them in 4 generic groups. It's the public sector, the private sector, the education, and other. As we can see, the public sector plays an important role in cultural heritage buildings. We can see that the main groups are city councils, cultural heritage committees, ministries of energy, and culture and tourism. The private sector, we aim to target architects, engineers, and the construction sector. And the academia and citizens and tenants who might live in these kind of buildings. Now I would like to map some of our achievements to this methodology. So for the first layer, the social, we have the social labs and the multi-stakeholder forums. For the second layer, the scientific, we have the inherit assessment methodology and the hub of measures. And for the third layer, the technological, we have the inherit services that are being developed. Now some more information for each of these achievements. For the social layer, we have completed the first cycle of the social labs. It was more focused on the barriers and the interest of our stakeholders and what they want to achieve through the Inherit project. We have the first multi-stakeholder forum that will take place in October, and the second cycle of the social labs, which focuses on the technical aspects and the new European Bauhaus. The first release of the assessment methodology, you can see here the pyramid that is being used for the technical inspection. As you may see in the lower levels, we have the foundation and structure and facades and roofs that our pilots, along with the service provider, have decided that are the most important for the safety of the users and for not collapsing, for the buildings not collapsing. And in this first release, we also have a list of key performance indicators that are being used for the building's evaluation. And this framework has been translated into the tool, the assessment tool, where you can see on the third, let's say, box, we have the 4 pillars that each building is being evaluated. These 4 pillars include the energy efficiency, the climate resilience, the resource efficiency, and the accessibility and sustainability of the buildings. And we also have the 11 services that will be applied in these buildings. That now we are at the first stage. We are taking a look in the architecture of the services and how they will be developed. And last, we have the hub of measures of interventions, as Kalesh will do. We have identified 83 measures in order to modernize these cultural heritage buildings. Our future plans, so let's say in 2024, we have the development phase has started, where the first release has been developed, and the framework, the data exchange platform, and the decision support services. In 2025, the pilot phase will start, including the pre-pilot and the pilot phase, where we're going to implement and demonstrate in the pilot sites our services. And in 2026, and until the end and in future plans, we have the replication of the project, where we aim to develop training materials, capacity building programs, in order to apply our methodology in other cultural heritage buildings based on the needs of those buildings, and also applying our services, adapt them based on the needs of other buildings in the future. And that's all, more or less. Thank you. You can find Inherit at inheritproject.eu, because I didn't add it.
Thank you very much, Antonia. So now it will be Evelixia with Alessandra. Okay.
Thank you so much. So thank you. Good morning, everybody. And today I will shortly present you the Evelixia project. The project started the 1st October last year, and it will run for 4 years. It's a project related to smart grid efficient interactive buildings. It's coordinated by CERT, which is the research center in Greece. And the consortium is composed by 36 partners in 12 countries. And the primary objective of the project is related to transform the buildings into active utility nodes of power generation and hydrogen in order to support the grid in terms of flexibility. So to, let's say, be ready to balance the peaks and the value of the demand. So in order that the building could be connected to the grid in a two-way communication, so between the grid and the citizen, so providing services both grid to the building and building to the grid, making the buildings smart, so also including analytics to optimize the consumption and operation of the buildings in terms of sensors and models that can support the smartness of the building itself, and to be flexible, so in order to reduce or shifting the consumption of the different assets in the building to provide services to the electrical grid. The target could be, let's say, summarized in 4 main ones. One is related to the increased energy flexibility, so enabling the buildings to respond in a dynamic way to the energy demand, based on what are also the occupant needs and the utility signals that the building receive. To reduce, of course, the GHG emission, so in order to reduce the environmental impact of the building stock at European level, making and including smart technologies and energy efficiency solution, to boost the self-consumption, so to maximize locally the generated renewable energy, optimizing which is the building to grid and the grid to building interaction, in order to increase also the energy independence, and to enhance, of course, the renewable energy generation, so to integrate different kind of renewable energy sources into the building system, such as PV, but not only, that can contribute, of course, to an overall increase in sustainable energy production. In general, the project involves 7 different pilot sites all around Europe, in Austria, Romania, France, Denmark, Spain and Finland. And each of the demo have specific characteristics in terms of technologies and innovation that will be included in the buildings, as well as the type of building that we are talking about. Because we have, for example, in Austria, a cooperative of more than 90 municipalities that involves more than 200 apartment blocks. We have an university campus. We have the industrial and tertiary service activities. We have different building blocks. We have in Greece, for example, a sort of smart grid which includes the different type of building and an hospital, which of course have different type of assets and different needs in terms of energy demand and consumption. We have in Spain a ski resort that have, let's say, also a seasonal level, a very different amount of energy needs. Specifically, we have a peak in the winter, but in the summertime, the energy consumption reduced drastically, and we have residential districts. So the project have really the aim to study these topics and this innovation in terms of active utility nodes for the building in a very different kind of context from electricity market, geographical, climate type of buildings. And among all these 7 pilots, we are going to develop 30 technologies that will be, of course, included in the different pilot, following 5 different innovation pathways. First of all, the first innovation pathway is related to the building to grid services. So, for example, algorithms to the energy site management or to the building energy management. We have services and technologies related to the grid to buildings, so in terms of grid investment planning, for example, or smart grid maintenance. We have different innovation related to the human to building interface, so developing, for example, virtual models for each demo site that can support, let's say, and understand how the different pilot site will, let's say, performance in a real way, running, let's say, and moving in a virtual mode, the 3D virtual mode. We will develop a digital building logbook. We will develop a marketplace that can support the sustainability of the building. The 4th innovation pathway is related to the system interoperability, which is, of course, an important aspect also if we talk about, let's say, interoperability with the electrical grid, so in terms of common info modeling, in terms of data context broker. And the last innovation pathway is related to the hardware and the flexibility enablers from a technology point of view. So we are going to develop and install in the demo site geothermal wall system. We are going to work on Windows solar shading control, also integrated to PV system. We are going to develop and install power to hydrogen to power technologies or hydrogen long storage system. So we have also within the project a widespread of different technologies that can support making the buildings active nodes in the grid. We are, let's say, in a first phase of the project, so we are at 40% more or less advancement related to the innovation pathway development, so the one that I just described before to you. So in the development of the different innovation and technologies included in the project, as well as related to the preparation of the pilot site. Of course, the next step are related to the integration of the technologies, and one important aspect that is covered in the project is related to the stakeholder engagement and citizen involvement that will be supported during the whole project duration in terms of involving the citizen in an active way during the, let's say, development of the innovation and demonstration phase. So in terms of what are the future plans of the project, the aim is to have within the end of 2025 the full-scale pilots ready, so all the technologies are installed and properly work in order to start the advanced testing and validation from 2026, so to have more or less 2 years of demonstration of the project, followed of course by the development of tailored business model for the different stakeholders involved in the project to support also from an economical point of view all this innovation in order to, let's say, close the project in 2027 related to the final validation supported by the dissemination replication strategy, as well as, let's say, aspects related to the policy recommendation at regulatory point of view also at the end of the project, we are going to understand what can be done in terms of regulation and standardization to unify, maybe reduce the different regulation at European level, and so on. So to work and close the project also not from the just technology point of view, but also from a standard and regulation aspects. Okay, coffee break.
Yeah. So, not yet coffee break, sorry about that, but very soon. Before the coffee break, we will have a last presentation from Smart History project with Matteo Porta from Rena Consulting.
Sorry for this.
So that means you had already to be on time for the 10 minutes, but now people is watching you. No, I'm kidding.
More than before.
Please.
Oh, okay. So really sorry for this. This is not exactly a coffee break. I would like to not to wake up more than bother you. So presentation is on the Smart History project. We are coordinating Smart History as Brina Consulting. I'm representing the team of coordination. And this is quite an interesting round of presentation, because we started from to discuss about projects that are understanding and addressing how people is involved in this type of renovation process from a wider point of view. And then we are going into much more details and from the neighborhood to the buildings. And now specifically with the Smart History, I'm glad to present this approach that is very much technological, and the objective is to develop a sort of a technological framework in order to renovate historical buildings and increasing the energy efficiency and their comfort level using basically automation. And okay, this is a partnership of 13 partners from 6 countries. And yes, as I was saying, the objective is to have a smart integrated building automation and control system for historical non-residential buildings, because one of the objectives of the call was to try to find solution where renovation is not an option. And then we intended, when renovation is not an option, for example, for historical buildings that are in some way protected, as we saw also in Enerit and Kalesh. And here we are going to develop this sort of automation and control logics, and I would like also to give a focus on how the end user are going to interact with this type of automated control logics. And so, of course, one of the objectives is the role or the active role of the end users, and of course to have an interoperable and cyber secure by design software and other solution. And another important aspect that I want to stress is that we are integrating the SRI methodologies in our method, in our approach. We are going to provide basically 4 digital services: monitoring, analysis and prediction, optimization and control, and digital twins. We have 3 demo sites. One is the Faculty of Architecture at TU Delft, and we have the facilities of the High Court of Justice in Granada, and we have the Riga City Hall. The target groups, of course, are historical building owners and managers, as well as producers of automation systems, digitalization expert, software and hardware producers, but also, of course, policymaker and local municipality, as well as designers, developers, utilities, contractors and suppliers, and research and technology developers. This because, as I said before, the solution is quite technological, and we are going to demonstrate in these 3 historical buildings, as I said before, and a target is to apply the SRI methodology. So as you probably know, the SRI methodology is applied in 9 different domains, and the idea was to address each of them differently for the 3 demonstration sites. And another target was to deploy optimization control logics. So one of the main challenge is to define properly the control logics that could cover all the 9 domains defined by the SRI methodology, and also include people and users actively involved in the control aspects. So then telling about the current status, the project started on May last year, so we are at month 18 more or less, and we have at 50% of the diagnosis and pre-intervention monitoring campaign. This is quite an important step, because without data, and for the historical building this could be a big challenge, specifically I would say in the southern part of Europe we are lacking of data, and we are lacking of digitalization in general. But to have a big amount of data is important in order to first perform the diagnosis and to define the baseline, but also then to understand which type of intervention could be done. And the second step is the user profiling and archetyping. This is an entire work package dedicated to this activity, led by TU Delft. And they are using all their effort in order to make this profilation and archetyping of the end users. And this means that the end user will be defined, and there will be an active role in the control logic, in the sense that using machine learning techniques and other mathematical techniques, the idea is to detect the type of end users that in a specific moment is using the building. And in this case, once we know which type of users that has been archetyped before, then we could adapt the control logics according to the type of users that in that moment is using the space and is working or is living in the building. And in this sense, we are at more or less 40% of the activities. Then we are developing the digital services that I mentioned before, and we are in the phase of detailed design of the digitalization measure. We are quite concluding this task. So the future plans for the end of this year, 2024, and next year, we will conclude the design phase for all the 3 demonstrators. We are going to conclude this phase of definition of the type of intervention according to the SRI methodology. And as you can see, we are going to intervene in 9 different domains: heating, cooling, domestic hot water, electricity, ventilation, lighting, electrical vehicles, dynamic buildings, and BMS. Then will come the installation phase. So 12 months are totally dedicated to the installation of the different sensors and actuators to act on the building without being so intrusive in the building, and because of historical buildings and we have limitation, of course, as you said also before. And then there will be the monitoring phase that will last the last 12 months of the project. This is a typo. Targets. Yeah. Okay. So I think that that's it. I'm quite early. It's the first time that happens to me, to finish before the time. Now coffee break.
No, but before coffee break was perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you to everybody. We will go for coffee break then. For 30 minutes, a bit less, we will start again at 11. So we will wait for you here and enjoy the coffee time. Thank you very much for everything. Bye-bye.